So I just spent the last hour marching the International Women's March with everyone in Asheville, like just right down the street. And the feeling is electric. Everyone's excited. You know, they're passionate, fighting for our rights, speaking them out. It was such an amazing moment. I historically am someone who has organized protests. I walk, I protest, I march. And I will probably be doing a lot of that in the coming years, but it just felt really great today, and I felt like it was a really refreshing moment. And I'm in my office, which is like smack downtown in Asheville, and I can actually still hear them chanting in the background and like people beeping their horns and stuff. It's super electric energy. That said, I wanted to do a video before I leave next week to go on vacation. So basically, I'm leaving the country for 2 weeks, going on a road trip through Norway, Sweden, and Denmark with my partner Sam. And so I'm not going to be doing my full moon, new moon videos. However, that said, I wanted to do a full month of March program, an exercise that allows you to quantum leap through the beginning of this eclipse season. You know, like this is the beginning. The full moon in Virgo is the beginning of eclipse season, and anyone who has like rode the rodeo pony that is eclipse season knows that it is a massive season of like huge change, like massive shifts, transformational beginnings and endings, and there's like nothing in between. There's no like soft openings or soft endings. Like it's just there, right? It just is. And so you want to harness that energy and you want to make it work for you, right? Because you being in your highest purpose, your greatest good, is going to put you into the world, and you're going to be contributing in the way that you need to, right? So I came up with this exercise that begins on the 13th and then it'll end on the 29th. And it's very specific, and it is all around quantum leaping. Now, quantum leaping is essentially time jumping, right? It's not just you saying, oh, I wish for this. It's you saying, this is my reality. I'm speaking my future story in the present, and I'm going to live it until it is my reality. That is one of the best kept secrets in magic and spell work that a lot of witches do, that we are able to quantum leap into our reality and our highest purpose, so that we're already there. We're already like, you know, letting go of everything that we need to let go of, letting go of the extra baggage to get to where we really need to be, where we're in help and in aid of our communities. So I gave you guys a taste a couple weeks ago during, I want to say it was maybe a new moon, I can't remember, but I had you read your future story to the moon. And a lot of people did it and they gave me like really great feedback. I actually did it myself too, but I did it at a different timing. I believe that I read my future story to the parade of planets that occurred on February 28th. And on my back porch at my house, I could actually see the entire sky, especially since the hurricane blew all my beautiful trees down. But I was able to see all the planets, and what I did, like I told everyone to do, which is quantum leaping, is I read my future story and manifestation to the planets and had them listen to me. And then my offering was I showed my tits to them afterwards and then I went about my night. That was my offering. It works differently for anyone. That said, you could do whatever you want for this next one. But this next exercise is all about quantum leaping through the first season of eclipse. On March 13th, it is the full moon in Virgo. It is a blood moon seasonally. And so if the moon has a different hue to it, pay attention to that. It's just where it's positioned in the planets at this very time. But this moon opens up a 4-week portal that you're going to see massive change, you know, even regardless of whether you set intention or not, right? But what you're going to do is you're going to harness the archetype of Virgo. Virgo is a perfectionist, right? They're like a list maker. They're not a risk taker. But the downside and the toxic kind of traits of it is that they're perfectionists. They're micromanagers. You know, it's like they go into analysis paralysis a lot until everything is perfect. What you're going to be doing to harness this specific archetypal lunation is you're going to be doing a release ritual to relinquish control. Relinquish control. I'm looking at my notes because I wrote everything down specifically so that I could deliver it to you. So if I look down, that's what I'm looking at. So I want you to ask yourself, what aspect of your life are you white knuckling and not letting go of, right? It's like, what is getting in the way of what you want to bring to yourself, to bring to your reality? It could be a person that you're holding on to. It could be a situation. It could be a bad habit. Whatever this is, I want you to actually do a release ritual around it, okay? pen and paper, get like a yellow or a brown candle and surround it with salt. And what you're going to say is, you're going to write down what it is that you know that you need to release. You're going to write down the coping mechanisms of how you are holding on to that toxic thing or that toxic person. And it could even be toxic in the way of like codependency, or you're relying on something too much, or it's a coping mechanism. But what you're going to do is you're going to write it down, and you're just state the facts, like don't get personal about it. And then you're gonna let that candle burn down, and you're gonna take that piece of paper and you're going to burn it and put it into a burn safe cauldron, right? Or bowl. But you are going to release that thing that you know that you refuse to let go of. And it's bad for you, right? And it's just one thing. And I think that if we're all being honest with ourselves, we already know the thing. And then at that point, March 14th, the next day, is when Mercury goes into retrograde. We have been through a billion of these. We already know what they're about. It's like, for the most part, Mercury retrogrades slow everything down. Like, this month of March is not going to feel like the 10 decades that January and February were. This month's going to speed by. Like, it's going to kind of, or I'm sorry, the opposite. It's going to slow down, because the retrograde is going to make everything feel like it's like being drawn out in a way. Okay. Now, what I want you to do though, is I want you to harness that energy as well. I want you to, every single day after your release ritual on the 13th, on the 14th, and going all the way up to, I want to say it's the 28th. Let me just look. Yeah. From the 14th until the 28th, so 2 weeks, you are going to set aside like 15 to 20 minutes, and you are going to ritualize your life. You are going to light a candle and write, or you're going to free write, or you're going to do spell work, or you're going to spring clean, or you're going to work with a new deity. Like, whatever it is, I want you to set aside time where you are doing micro work around that release, right? So for example, if you are doing like grounding or breath work, I want you to think about that thing that you're releasing. And every time you breathe in, you are breathing in like the knowledge of what you need to let go of. And then with every breath out, you are releasing and letting go. All right, so you're hearing everyone getting closer to my building right now with the march. Okay, grounding myself. And then, okay, so here's the other thing, is that every single day for 2 weeks, you're going to release that piece in little pieces, like whether it's breath work, like I said, whether you're burning a candle and you're imagining as the chime candle burns down that it's going away, whether you are smoke scrying and you're like getting messages from your spirit guides, or you're meditating, or you're getting mindful, whatever it is, every single day for 2 weeks, I want you to say this mantra after your ritual. So you're gonna say, I understand why you came along, and then by you, I mean the person, the thing, the coping mechanism, the thing that you need to let go of, okay? The mantra. I understand why you came along, now you go. Like, get the fuck out, right? Now you go. I release you. You are gone. And you are going to ritualize every single day for 2 weeks, but that mantra at the very end is going to be, I understand why you came along, now go. I release you, right? I release you. You're going to be very literal about it. On March 24th, Mercury kind of like, whenever Mercury or a planet goes into a retrograde, it hits this like midpoint, which is called a cazimi. And then of course it goes and it stations direct again. On the 24th, Mercury is hitting that cazimi, and you're going to be hit if you are doing the exercise that I'm asking you to do. You're going to have this epiphany. There's going to be this like aha moment, and it's going to be like on the 24th, give or take a day, but you're going to wake up one morning and be like, holy fucking shit, I understand what I need to do. Or holy shit, like if it's a person that like yours, let's say like e-stalking or whatever, like it's an ex you can't let go of, all of a sudden something's going to happen where they're just going to disappear, or they're going to be blocking you, or you're just going to be like, man, fuck that person. Or if it's yourself, like, because I will say this, I've banished aspects of myself, and I've done some heavy fucking shadow work around who I am. I've realized something about myself needed to go, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to chuck you to the side, right? It was during this kind of a retrograde, a year and a half ago is when I had quit drinking, and I was like, all right, like I am drinking from my grief. I'm realizing I'm not enjoying this anymore. It's no longer fun. It doesn't raise my vibration. I gotta let it go and I gotta be honest about why, right? That was like something around this time and this retrograde that I let that go, and I'm, almost a year and a half sober at this point, which has been fantastic. All right, so then the next part of this exercise, March 28th or 29th is going to be, I'm sorry, the 28th is going to be the dark moon in Pisces. I don't talk about the dark moon a lot because it's kind of like a what you need to know, kind of like witchcraft thing. A lot of witches and a lot of people who manifest they will harness the power of a dark moon, which is the night before a new moon. And it is the time that you do solid banishing and solid shadow work. And it's like the real kind of like black magic that you really talk about, but it's the black magic around psychology, right? It's around you really getting honest about what you need to let go of. That night, you're going to be doing a clearing ritual to release everything that came forward in these last 2 weeks. So let's say that you did your release spell on the 14th, right, on the full moon in Virgo, and as you did all these micro rituals, like for the last 2 weeks, and you're journaling along the way, there's going to be a lot of shit that comes up, and especially on the 24th, when you have that epiphany, you're going to be like, what? Like, you're just going to have this epiphany, right? On the 28th, you're going to do a clearing ritual and deep banishing work. And it's going to be like a black candle surrounded by black salt. And you are going to be honest and say, is there anything that I'm still holding on to from the release at the full moon? And you banish it, right? If there is anything that is still attached to that one thing you are trying to let go of, you get really, really honest with it. And you either do cord cutting or you will do a freezer spell around this, which is basically you writing down the one thing that you know you're not letting go of, and you're being honest with yourself, and you write it down on a piece of paper and put it into a jar with like vinegar and a bunch of other gross shit. If you have more questions about this, just DM me, and you put it in the freezer. But you're going to be doing some banishing work around this dark moon in Pisces. Now, in completion of this portal energy that opened up on the 29th is the new moon in Aries. And I've actually been like really excited for Aries season this year for the first time in my life, just because it's about people standing up in their power and like emerging from the darkness, right? And it's also a partial eclipse. So on this specific lunation, and this is after doing everything that you have done since the 14th, you are going to get a circle of 9 candles. It doesn't matter what color they are, you could do all white or all black, doesn't matter, but it's like just as long as you have 9 candles, and you're going to surround them with salt specifically. And you're going to feel the heat and the energy, and you're going to release whatever is left of what you had set the intention to release, right? You're just going to let it all go. Whether that is a ritual of like breath work over the candles, or whether you need to cry and let it out, whatever it is, you do this massive, massive release around that day. And there's a journal prompt that goes with it. All right, so it's basically, now that I've let go of this emotional anchor that has held me back, how can I come into my power in a way that serves the greater good? All right, I'm going to say it one more time. Now that I've let go of the emotional anchor that held me back these past couple weeks, how can I come into my power in a way that serves the greater good? This exercise is to get you to move a stitch further in your healing so that you're able to come into your purpose on why you're here on this planet. I realize that my video is like forever fucking long, but that said, this is the exercise that I have for this month, and it is for you to harness that eclipse energy. It is to use it for the purpose of healing and letting go so that you can come into your power in a more solid way. All right. Thank you so much, you guys. And if you're not out there on the street with all those amazing ladies, then get your ass out there. Have a good one.